Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." Jesus answered,
"It is written, man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God."
Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. "If you are the Son of God," he said, "throw yourself down. For it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him,
"It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test."
Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. "All this I will give you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." Jesus said to him,
"Away from me, Satan! For it is written, worship the Lord your God, and serve him only."
Then the devil left him, and angels came and attended him.
The signs of spring are all around us. Longer days of warmer sunshine and flowers, snowdrops, daffodils, and flowering trees and shrubs bursting into life after the dark days of winter. But we are also in the season of Lent, a time associated since the 4th century AD with the 40 days which Jesus spent in the wilderness, fasting and praying. A time we often think of as a time of self-denial and abstinence as we reflect on Jesus' story over the 6 weeks, with each week taking us to the climax of the story in Jerusalem. Because of this, Lent is typically spent as a time of prayer, preparation and reflection, giving us time to get ready to go through the emotional of loss and grief on Good Friday, then hope and joy at the resurrection on Easter Day. Traditionally, many people have used this time as an opportunity for giving up something they enjoy or indulge in: chocolate, crisps, alcohol, online shopping or games, binge watching TV, meat, sugar, cake, and even gossip or negative thinking. Perhaps you don't follow that particular practice of giving something up, or find it helpful, or like me, start off with good intentions, but the lure of a chocolate cake someone offers me is just too great a temptation. Perhaps you might think of taking up something for Lent instead. This is a time when we should be preparing to meet with God, and sometimes that can be by starting something new, a new habit that will help us to be better followers of Jesus. Fasting has traditionally been practiced during this time. It may sound difficult, particularly for people with certain health conditions. However, it can be a very rich experience, especially if combined with prayer. In a youth group we ran, we encouraged the young people to think about those children in the third world who were without sufficient food, even starving, and we raised money by doing a sponsored fast. As children, they could not go too long without food, so they had breakfast at home and then spent the day playing games and going for a walk, finishing with a good evening meal, which of course rapidly disappeared. It proved to be a successful day, providing a sense of achievement and in thinking of others and realising how it felt to be hungry. If fasting is not possible, then there are other things we can consider. Spending regular time in prayer, giving to charity, decluttering our possessions. Someone recently suggested putting one item in a bag every day of Lent, a book, an item of clothing, an ornament, and giving it to charity. Or we could try volunteering, taking public transport or walking instead of using the car, reading the Bible and other helpful books, turning off our electronic devices, being happy, being kind, and being positive. The period of Lent allows us to make small changes in our hobbies and our lives, which can continue beyond Lent, which can lead to us becoming better people. I have been using this little book of Lent with contributions from many well-known Christians, and I found this reflection by James Catford, the CEO of the Bible Society and formerly a publisher, particularly helpful. He writes about spiritual discipline and says there are lots of ways we can practice it. He quotes the example of arriving early at the office and holding a mug of coffee cupped in both hands as an act of relinquishment, confession, and supplication. He also practiced using very short amounts of time, waiting for the kettle to boil, or walking upstairs instead of using the lift for prayer. He confesses that at first these disciplines seem awkward, like getting into the car and not turning the radio on, which he found devastating at first as he started to experiment with silence. But the habits, he called them holy habits, only take 3 months to form, and sometimes less, and then can become harder not to do them. A bit like cleaning your teeth in the morning. Hard not to do that for most of us. He describes other ways to practice spiritual discipline. Washing the dishes when the house is quiet, holding a sleeping child as a moment of contemplation, walking, cycling, painting, and at the end and the beginning of the day, when we can at least start making time to find God. Or perhaps, more accurately, making time when God can find us. I do pray that we can all find Lent, as well as a time of prayer and contemplation of the amazing story of Easter, also perhaps to follow in some small way the steadfastness of Jesus as he approached his death on the cross, in developing the holy habits which will make us better people. To be committed to being transformed by God's love and to love others so that we might have a better church, a better society, and a better world. Amen.